How's it going, everyone? Bass here. In today's video, I want to talk about a potential contract extension with Davante Adams and the Green Bay Packers and what that contract may look like. Now, let me start off by saying it is likely that Davante Adams will be franchise tagged this offseason at the bare minimum. Now, will Davante Adams play on that franchise tag? That's another story. The projected franchise tag for wide receivers in 2022 is $19,127,000. And that's fully guaranteed, and teams have until the new league year start on March 16th to decide who they want to franchise tag, if anyone. And that's the third most expensive position to tag, just under quarterback and defensive end. And it has been said that Adams has stated that he wants to be paid as the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. Now you might be asking, now what does that necessarily entail? And when you search up wide receiver contracts, the first thing that really jumps out at you is the DeAndre Hopkins deal. If you didn't know already, DeAndre Hopkins' average right now is $27,250,000. Now, that's based off of the new money the Arizona Cardinals added to his already 3-year contract with the Houston Texans when trading for DeAndre Hopkins. You know, they gave him that 2-year, $54.5 million extension. But when you actually equate the rest of his deal, you know, totaling a 5-year deal and add that on what was already owed, the average of the 5-year deal is $18.9 million per season, a lot less than that $27 million mark. So DeAndre Hopkins' deal is honestly really an outlier. Like, I haven't really seen this in any other positional group, this much of an outlier, but it really doesn't show the whole, top paid wide receiver correctly, because his average really isn't $27 million per year. If you look at his 5-year contract as a whole, it just isn't. Like I said, it's right around 18.9. I mean, looking at the wide receivers alone, it jumps from Hopkins at that 27.25 all the way to Julio Jones below him at $22 million. Then you see Keenan Allen at $20 million, Cooper at $20, Mike Thomas 19, Tyreek Hill 18, Galladay 18. It goes on and on and on. So personally, in my opinion, I think looking at DeAndre Hopkins' 5-year deal in a whole rather than the 2-year extension the Arizona Cardinals gave him is a lot more realistic in this regard. The Green Bay Packers reportedly didn't want to recognize that figure as a mark to match because it was an outlier for receiver contracts. And like I said, I 100% agree with them. NFL insider Tony Pauline suggested that no matter who pays Adams this long-term deal, he's going to want $30 million a year. And he said, quote, "Those close to the situation tell me Adams wants to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL and will be looking for a contract near $30 million per year," Pauline wrote. The Packers at this point look as though they may go no higher than $24 to $25 million per year. And personally, that 24 to 25, I think, is right around the ballpark of what you should be paying Davante Adams. Meaning paying Davante Adams $25 million a year just makes a lot more sense than paying him $30 million. Obviously you want to spend less money, but in terms of looking at every other contract in the NFL and not just staring at the DeAndre Hopkins outlier one, $25 million makes sense. But if Adams truly sticks really hard to that $30 million number and doesn't budge any bit lower, an extension is very unlikely to happen with Green Bay. I mean, not to mention Davante Adams will be turning 30 this December. So basically today I wanted to go in and make a contract for Davante Adams right around that $25 million mark, what I think is the most realistic, what is, likely to happen in terms of a Davante Adams extension. I just don't see a team really paying him $30 million a year. Now, if he was 26 years old and was putting up this production for the last 3 years, sure. But he's turning 30 in December. So I think a 4-year deal is very likely if the Packers and Adams do come to an agreement. And honestly, I'm right around at 4 years and $103 million is right where I would see it, which would be at a $25.75 million average. And not to mention, if you go look on Spot Track and you look at the market value for Davante Adams, they actually have him really close to that mark. I looked at this after I thought of that mark, so it's actually really spot on at a $25.8 million average annual salary. Now, you may be thinking, why do this at $25.75 million average when you could just tag him for a little bit over $19 million? Now, they could backload this contract and actually make the 2022 cap hit lower than if they were to tag him. So when you tag someone That's fully guaranteed. That's your cap hit for the year, 19 point whatever it is. That's your cap hit. No adjusting that. That's the franchise tag. Now, with a 4-year contract, you can backload, move money around elsewhere, and actually make his 2022 cap hit very low in a year where the Packers are desperate for money, allowing more impending free agents for the Green Bay Packers to be re-signed to make another run at a Super Bowl. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys the contract I made for Davante Adams, and as you see here, a total of $103 million, that 25.75 APY, $68 million guaranteed. And if we look at his contract here, basically, I lowered his base salary in 2022 all the way down to $2.5 million. That bonus of $42 million is spread out over the 5 years. I added a void year just to kind of even out money a little bit and allow it to be less of a cap number each year. And obviously that has its negatives as well. But workout bonus, 250, 250, 500 for the next 3 years. And if we look at his 2022 cap hit number, 11.15 million, $8 million less than that franchise tag number would be. And then 2023, 24.1 million. In 2024, 27.9 million, and in 2025, 31.4 million. And you may be thinking, why would you be wanting to pay him $31.4 million when he's 32, 33 years old? But let me show you what the transactions would look like if you were to cut/trade him in the future years of this deal before you make that judgment. So the transactions for this deal are as followed, as you can see here. For cuts in 2022, DM is dead money, CS is cap savings, and you would save negative $33 million if you were to cut him after this deal. Obviously, that's nothing that would ever occur. 2023 and 2024, same thing. You're going to get negative money cutting Davante Adams unless it's a post-June 1st cut or trade. Now, the year they're able to move on is that 2025 season where his cap is at $31.4 million. And in that regard, in 2025, if they were to cut him pre-June 1st, save $14.6 million and incur dead money of $16.8. Now, if they were to trade him post-June 1st, they would save $23 million and a dead money of $8.4 million. And then, of course, with that one added void year, regardless, in 2026, they would have $8.4 million in dead money. That's what his cap hit would be in 2026, regardless. But at that point, Aaron Rodgers is probably retired or on another team, so I don't think cap situations and money will be that big of a deal in 2026. But overall, this is the contract that I think makes most sense for Davante Adams. As I said before, if he sits on that $30 million mark and another team's willing to pay it, hey, that's probably going to happen. I just don't see it any way the Packers are going to give him $30 million annually, nor can they in this scenario right now with their salary cap. But this is a deal I have, and if they were to both come to an agreement to something right around this mark, you can obviously see that it can work for this year in order for them to still get under the cap. I mean, his cap number being only $11 million for this big $103 million deal isn't that bad for 2022. And if you haven't seen my salary cap video already, you see it's also, there's a lot of other things the Packers can do to get under the cap as well. But that about does it for this video. I want to hear your thoughts and comments down below. Do you think this is a good deal? Would you rather just roll with the 1-year franchise tag, considering Davante will be 30 years old? Or would you like if this contract was agreed upon between the Packers and Davante Adams? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. But on that note, I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go Pack Go.